The film The Joker from 1928 was the last film that the Danish film company Nordisk made before they went bankrupt later that year. And so its reputation has suffered because the company went bust right after. But it doesn't seem that this was entirely the fault of the movie. But it has remained unseen for very long. And it's also kind of an uncharacteristic Danish film because it's a highly international production. It's set in Nice at the carnival in the south of France. It's based on a British play. The stars are English and French, and the director is German. So it's really sort of an early Euro-pudding kind of film. Sort of many of the main elements do come from England, and it does seem that the film was intended to sort of showcase Nordisk for the British market, because the management at Nordisk wanted to make a deal with some British investors and wanted them to take over the company, but that fell through and then the whole thing collapsed. It was based on a popular play that played for, I think, 150 performances in the West End. The play in particular has kind of a James Bond-like hero who sort of outwits these various criminals that he's up against. And in the play, actually, he does have a background in military intelligence. But that has been sort of set aside in the movie, and he's just a more relaxed kind of playboy figure in the film. But he's still sort of effortlessly superior to everyone else, and he's cool and party-loving, but also romantic and attractive. And the British star, Henry Edwards, gives, I think, a really great and fun performance in the leading role. So it's a very enjoyable and light-hearted film in that way. The director, Georg Jacoby, was sort of a highly professional German director who had a very long career running from 1913 to 1960. He's probably best known today for the sort of Agfacolor musicals that he made during the Third Reich with Marika Røck, who was his wife at the time. But he made entertainment films of various sorts from the very beginning. He worked with Pola Negri, he worked with Ellen Richter, who's also sort of one of the major figures of this year's Giornate, and he was the co-director of the big 1925 version of Quo Vadis, which was made in Italy. He was the co-director with Gabrielino D'Annunzio, but that film was sort of a notorious flop that brought down the whole Italian film industry almost. So he had to sort of shift around a bit. And then he made a film in England with Henry Edwards, with Miles Mander, who's the very effective villain of Jokeren, and I think that they probably brought the project to Nordisk. So the film, it's set in Nice, and it has scenes shot during the carnival in Nice. Most of the film was shot in Copenhagen, but some of the big party scenes at the hotel, where you have lots of dancers and these sort of big, very big set, that had to be shot in Berlin. So it was, in that way, also sort of a multinational production.
If you can tell us something about the copy we will perform here at the Giornate.
The copy that will be shown here at the Giornate is based on an original nitrate print. So the quality of the image is very good, and the tints are also reproductions of the original tints. The print didn't have any titles, so those had to be replaced. So the titles in the print are sort of newly created, but they follow the wording of the original titles pretty closely. The film expands on the original play quite cleverly. The play is basically set in these indoor rooms and is sort of quite closely confined, but the film sort of manages to open up the intrigue and also sort of reduces the number of villains, because in the play there are a number of different villains, and it gets kind of complicated, but the screenplay sort of irons that out and also sort of shifts around the climactic events, so that the scene, which is sort of the big dramatic scene at the end of the play, actually occurs a bit earlier, so that they can have the climax in the big ballroom with all the dancing girl extras. For the climax of the film, they sort of expanded on this sort of throwaway remark in the play, where this character explains that he has lost some important documents because he was mugged by a fake movie production crew. And he was watching them shoot the film, and it turned out that they were actually working for the Joker, and and they sort of clobbered this fellow and took away the secret documents that he had stolen. And so, but in the film, they sort of shift that to being sort of the big final scene where the villain gets caught. They have, again, a fake movie crew that's used there, and that sort of also underscores sort of the playful attitude of the film, and sort of shifting the attitude. The play is set in London, and shifting the action to Nice and having the carnival also allows them to sort of play up this idea that the hero has this sort of secret identity as the Joker, which actually is again in the play he's sort of like a Batman figure, and all the criminals know him only as the Joker, and it seems a little silly. Here it's a bit more grounded, and it gets more justified because it fits in with the whole carnival theme and allows him to sort of go around in a jester's cap and still be sort of effortlessly cool at outmaneuvering the villains and getting the girl. And also, I should say that the lead actress of the film is a German actress who was Georg Jacoby's wife at the time. So this thing of marrying his leading lady was actually something that he did several times during his career.
I think that it's a very interesting and enjoyable movie to watch. This.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. It's lighthearted. It doesn't take itself too seriously either, and I think that it, it sort of captures the carnival atmosphere quite well. And also there are some Danish character actors who play various supporting figures. They are the butlers or the manservants of the various main characters, and they also add some nice comic business to the proceedings.